live on your tablet, phone, and the KUTV app. This is 2 News Live.
Yes, it is. This is 2 News Live. Thanks for joining us tonight. Don't mind me, we'll slide in this way. Thursday, April 11th. Good to be with you tonight. We're going in depth on the effort to bring a National Hockey League franchise to Salt Lake City, to the Beehive State. Before we dive in, we have a look at what's making headlines tonight. You can find all of these on our website, KUTV.com. A lockdown has been lifted at a local college at Southern Utah University in Cedar City after the university received a call about an active shooter situation. Just before 9:30 this morning, all buildings on the campus were searched and cleared by law enforcement. I don't believe we have all of these loaded, by the way, but no shots were fired and no one was injured. Classes will resume again tomorrow. Officials are keeping a close eye on the Panguitch Lake Dam. The water level in the dam has dropped close to 6 inches over the last couple of days. The plan is to lower the water level by several feet over the next 7 days. People are still encouraged to be alert and be prepared in case of an evacuation. Also, the International Olympic Committee spent the day in Park City. IOC leaders are assessing the state in an effort to bring the Winter Games back in 2034. We'll keep it here. They made stops at Park City Mountain Resort, Olympic Park, and Soldier Hollow. At Park City Mountain, IOC leaders viewed the slopes and the half-pipe features for those freestyle and snowboarding events. Finally, in our headlines tonight, passengers at the Provo Airport will have another airline to choose from beginning October 7th. One of the big guns coming to Provo. American Airlines will operate 3 daily flights out of that regional airport, 2 to Dallas-Fort Worth, and a quick one to Phoenix. American joins Allegiant Air and Breeze Airways to fly out of Provo. Those are some more options for you in Utah County. As we go in depth tonight, you can get in touch with us during the show. You could use the hashtag 2NewsLive if you'd like to join in on the conversation. You can always find us on the socials as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any of the platforms there. Send a DM to weigh in. All right, let's go in depth on this one. The NHL would be a fool not to move to Utah. That's according to a state lawmaker who says amid urgent high-level talks are among the conversations right now to bring the Arizona Coyotes here to the Beehive State. Brian Malahy has been looking into this possibility all day. He's been covering those developments. Brian, you're along the tracks line here. What gives?
Yeah, right outside the Delta Center. This is where the hockey team, if it comes here, would play along with the Jazz. So today we went looking for some more answers. Of course, yesterday there was the site that broke the news that Utah may be close and is in talks right now. But when we say Utah, we mean the Smith Entertainment Group, Ryan Smith's company, in talks to bring the Arizona Coyotes here to Utah. It appears that these talks, based upon reports, are between SEG and the NHL, not the current owner of the Coyotes hockey team, who has an office based in California. We were speaking to Senator Dan McKay today because he was the lawmaker who sponsored the bill that incentivizes NHL hockey here. So essentially what the bill would do would be to create an entertainment district, a revitalization zone near the Delta Center, and it would allow Salt Lake City to increase the sales tax, the city's portion of the sales tax, by 0.5 cent in order to pay for all kinds of upgrades here. And so this would not just be necessarily upgrades to the Delta Center or a new arena, but it would be an entertainment district. And McKay says he doesn't have any intimate knowledge of what the talks are right now between Smith and the NHL, but he does say the NHL would be a fool to not choose Salt Lake City based upon all that the city and the state have done thus far. He thinks it would be a big mistake, that the NHL would be screwing up. They're having problems right now, the Coyotes, in trying to get a permanent home in the Phoenix area. And so those discussions are underway, and there's talk about, well, we could buy all this land and then we could build a new arena. Well, that could take time. Meantime, the Delta Center is here, and the question is, can you play hockey and Jazz basketball at the same time without any upgrades right now? And I think the answer is, although we haven't heard this from anybody, the answer is yeah, in the short term you probably can, and then there's the big promise of something new and exciting, a shiny new thing coming in downtown Salt Lake City as well. So that's the situation. That's what we know today. We also talked to some people on the streets, on Main Street this afternoon, and they said, yeah, we'd love to have hockey come, and yeah, we have never been to a hockey game before, but that would be cool. We'd go. So we'll see. Brian, back to you.
Brian Malahy becoming one of the new NHL hockey fans here in the state. You've done about 20 stories on this. Thanks for joining us on 2 News Live. All right, let's talk about this and take a deeper dive here. Lonard Davis is here, part of our sports team here at KUTV 2 News. Gets his hands into a little bit of everything with the department. So tonight, we're talking hockey, we're talking the rumor mill, because that is spinning. Those sources to be unnamed are saying lots of things to lots of interesting platforms and networks about this, except to us. Weird. And the move, if it were to happen here to the state of Utah from Arizona, what could that look like?
Well, it's nothing but speculation right now, but the faster the decision is made, the faster we can get this moving process going, and the quicker we can paint that picture you're trying to paint right now. At the end of the day, what location makes sense for the financiers and the fans? That is the combination that they're trying to really coordinate, but there could be conflict issues with the schedules, between NHL and the NBA, but none of this will be possible without the approval of the NHL Board of Governors. They're the ones that have to do it all. It's scheduled in June, and that could be expedited over Zoom.
Yeah, a lot can be expedited over Zoom, which is a good and a bad thing. You don't have to physically hop on the plane, get out, shake some hands. So is that what we're waiting on at this point?
I mean, at this point, there could be different things going on right now. They're keeping us in the dark, as we all know. But at the end of the day, there got to be some dotted lines. You got to sign the ink to the paper. That's the biggest thing. And one thing that they need to do is keep it rolling when it comes to information. But they're going to keep it the way that they want to, as long as the fans don't necessarily get involved. You have to kind of keep it under wraps until business is being made. Not to mention, you got to be able to do exactly what the business calls for, and that's where is the land, how they can put it together, and on top of that, are they going to rename that team as well?
Well, it's interesting. We'll get to that in just a second. It's fascinating because I have talked to the director of operations for the Jazz months ago about this very question of what this looks like to play hockey on a full-time basis in the Delta Center. And this was actually when they were changing over the court from All-Star back to the purple court. And I asked him, what's it like to see a hockey game in here? The viewpoints aren't perfect. Can they do it? Yes. Do they do it with the Frozen Fury? Yes. Is it the ideal location to watch a hockey game like it is for a basketball game where you're on top of the team practically? Mm-hmm. No. So they could get by with it, but at this point, they would need a bigger, an enhanced space, a little renovation at the Delta Center.
Well, the beauty of teams relocating is the ability to rebrand, and I think fans wouldn't mind to have a team of their own, a name of their own, colors of their own.
So no Coyotes, you're thinking?
Well, it could. Now, there are some teams that, in the NFL, for example, you got the Cleveland Browns. They didn't change their name, and then the Seattle Supersonics in the NBA, they changed their name to the OKC Thunder. So, I mean, there are mock-ups right now in the internet as we speak. But also, one thing fans are asking about is, what about the Utah Grizzlies? Maybe they relocate, maybe they go to a fan base that are in need of a minor league team, or maybe they become an affiliate of the Coyotes or a renamed team here in Salt Lake. But there are 3 games left in the Coyotes season. We technically will not know until the end of that season, which is next Wednesday. So best case scenario, next Thursday would be primarily where we could hear something, a final verdict.
It's kind of interesting that these things just swirl right now without that firm deadline, and all these people hiding behind the word source always bothers the heck out of me. But I understand the business, and that's how it's done now, is the feeding of information. And anybody who's out there just wants some confirmation from a couple of folks. For example, the Coyotes owner. For example, Ryan Smith. The people that make these big-time decisions and ultimately go to the Board of Governors to make the call, they haven't come out yet and said, this is what's happening. So it's a lot of wait and see.
But it's a good sign that right now Ryan and Ashley Smith already are backed and supported by the governor, officials, and leaders. So they already have it in place. It's just a matter of are they going to put it together all in a timely fashion?
Lonard, the most important thing from the conversation here is the Grizzlies. In my opinion, I believe they had a sellout last week. I thought I saw that.
Yeah.
Pretty darn cool. Hockey fans are showing up. I can tell you the last time I went to a Grizzlies game, there were plenty of empty seats. So I think there is a renewed hunger for the sport of hockey in the state. New Englander here personally love to see it.
Detroit Red Wings,
I know. For once, we didn't get Lonard on here to talk about the Lions and the Red Wings, anything like that. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Always good to have you. And of course, we want to hear from you at home. Would you support a move for the NHL's Coyotes or that franchise or even another franchise, guys? Is it the Winnipeg Jets? I don't know. Are they coming to Salt Lake City? Trent looks at me like, nah. Scan the QR code on your screen to weigh in. Hey, that's not too far out of reach. 45% of you are saying, I'd give it a chance to support the move for this specific move from Arizona to Salt Lake City. 33% of you are prepared to cough up the big bucks and say, I'd buy season tickets. 5%, I want a new franchise. 17%, I don't care about hockey. We're going to change that 17% because there's a lot of hockey fans here at KUTV. So, would you like to see it?
Of course.
So specifically the move of the Coyotes to Salt Lake City, you think that's kind of cool?
Yeah.
Desert to pseudo-desert, depending on the time of year?
I love it. I love the idea.
Look at that.
I love this too.
Can you play hockey when it's 80 degrees? Inside you can.
I mean, this is incredible. This would be the first day we reached 80 degrees tomorrow. Now, if we actually reach 81, that would tie the record as well. So we've got some warm temperatures here in the days
You look like you got a little color there, too.
Color,
a little sun
little
treating
golf,
you well.
little golf.
That's good.
Tomorrow, though, let's get to the forecast. Let's show you the conditions that we're continuing to see. And, yeah, we've got that warm weather here. It is beautiful out there. 71 degrees here in Salt Lake, dealing with a beautiful sunny sky. Temperatures right now across the area, we're 5 to 10 degrees warmer from 24 hours ago. So we're moving on up here. Temperatures at the Provo area, 66 into Logan, 73 in Milford, 67 in Blanding. Quiet across much of the area. High pressure system doing its thing. We do have some severe weather though in the Ohio Valley. Look at all this lightning here. Mid-Atlantic back through the Great Lakes, going to be dealing with rain and some thunderstorms. Could even see some light delays there if you're traveling towards the northeast here in the next 24 hours. Here at home, quiet conditions through the weekend. It does get a little bit breezy. We're tracking our next storm arriving as we get into Monday. Could see some showers up and down from the Wasatch Front into the southern half of the state. Mountain snow, valley rain, kind of a quick moving weak system. Then here's our next one moving in as we get into Tuesday. Models are kind of all over this place, but for right now it will be colder. Maybe not too significant, but something we're watching where we could even see some snowflakes here mixing in across the valley floors. Not expecting much in the way of accumulations, but up in the mountains we certainly could. Temperatures here overnight, though, we are dry and comfortable, 40s and 50s. And then look at this. We're climbing into the 70s, close to 80 degrees as we get into the day tomorrow here. 85 down in St. George. St. George temperatures here through the next few days, we're into the 80s, then eventually the 70s by early next week, early to low 70s as we head into the end of the week. We'll see those temperatures here along the Wasatch Front into the 80s, becoming 70s tomorrow or Saturday, 60s for your Sunday, and then early next week, a little bit cooler there. We're kind of back to winter. Oh, yeah.
Get
80
that
degrees
swing on
tomorrow.
Here.
80 degrees.
I'm ready. So a lot of eyes here on the Masters right now, especially after a little weather situation this morning.
Right.
That happened when I went to the Masters a few years ago, my one and only. It gets gnarly real quick around Augusta.
A bit rainy.
Yeah, rainy. The course is a little hillier than it looks on television.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting, but we can have our own, major championship here.
Why not?
With temperatures like this.
I mean,
And by the way, can I just remind you in Masters Week, coming up here in the PGA Tour schedule for this year is PGA Tour golf here in Utah at Black Desert Resort in Ivins. I mean, what a beautiful backdrop.
Yeah.
Temperature-wise, it's going to be in October. It's going to be amazing. So if you've got that golf fever, be thinking about going to check out the pros
Yeah.
right here in Utah just a few months from now.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I got to check it out.
I know, but you work on the swing in the meantime too. Maybe we'll
yeah.
get down there and play it before the pros do. Remember to download our 2 News weather app to know about changes in your neighborhood. You can get updated forecasts, a live radar, all at the palm of your hand. The app is free to download. I want to get in depth on something here because we just got some of this information into our newsroom within the last few hours. So let's go in depth now with new developments in the Ruby Frankie, Jodi Hildebrandt child abuse case. Ruby Frankie's husband filed a new complaint, part of a lawsuit against Jodi Hildebrandt today. This is that document. Kevin Frankie has been actively trying to get custody of 4 of their children, including the 2 that were being held in Ivins at Jodi Hildebrandt's home. Now today, through his attorney, Randy Kester, Kevin filed a lawsuit against Jodi Hildebrandt, which says it's based on the effects that her actions had on the children and on Kevin. Now, before we move forward, I didn't get to do this at 5 o'clock, so I want to read part of the complaint that's pretty interesting. It says, towards the bottom of the basis of facts and general allegations, the children's personalities, emotions, and psyches were so damaged and altered that it was beyond the father's capability to restore them without professional intervention of state's resources through the juvenile court. They go on to talk about the needs of the children. A next line here says, the intentional and/or neglect acts of the defendant, who is Jodi, have completely damaged and altered for the worse Kevin's marriage. The children's mother is in prison. All of his children's individual psyches, personalities, behaviors, essentially dismantling, exploding his family and his personal life. Based thereon, Kevin, for action, alleges as follows. So what is Kevin Frankie hoping to get out of this? Well, 3 causes of action. Here they are. There are outlined bullet points underneath each of these in this document. Intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress, negligence. Those are the 3. Here is some of what else was written basically in this complaint. In the first cause of action, it's written that Jodi acted with reckless disregard of the probability of causing emotional distress to Kevin and to each of Kevin's children. In the second cause of action, it's written that Jodi's acts led to Kevin's suffering, past and future, non-economic damages, pain and suffering, emotional distress, loss of quality of life and loss of enjoyment of life. In the negligence cause of action, which is the final of the 3, it's written that Kevin is entitled to all economic damages as may be established. Now, there's a lot to digest and a lot of lawyer speak to look through, but Kevin's attorney, Randy Kester, shared this statement with me today on behalf of Kevin Frankie. It reads, quote, this lawsuit marks a significant step in our journey towards seeking justice for myself and my children against the abuses inflicted by Ms. Hildebrandt. This is written in the perspective of Kevin Frankie. It continues to say, Ms. Hildebrandt weaponized her authority and professional training to cause tremendous harm and damage to myself, my children, and my family. Finally, I'm committed to doing everything I possibly can to ensure that this dangerous woman can never harm another individual again and to seek the long-term healing and welfare of my children. So, in terms of relief, which is towards the end of this document, Kevin is asking for judgment against Jodi for past, present, and future special damages, as it's written, pain and suffering, losses and harms, and all other general damages, for exemplary and punitive damages, and for pre-judgment and post-judgment interests, costs, attorney fees, basically money. You can read the complaint on our website right now if you'd like to decipher through some of the jargon. We've been covering this story of Ruby Frankie and Jodi Hildebrandt since the very beginning. That was August 30th, 2023. We really ramped up our coverage the week after. We have dozens of interviews, videos on our KUTV YouTube page. I'm saying it again because a lot of you have watched them. You can also watch past episodes of 2 News Live where we went in depth on the 8 passengers case. We've done a lot of that. And all the evidence that we received last month, including the conversations I had with detectives, officers, first responders, you name it, it's all there. Thanks for watching 2 News Live. Sean Kelly is back here after that mouthful. You watching the Masters?
Yeah, we've got it on.
The whole weather team is watching the
we got
Masters.
it on.
I've been seeing over there. It's not hockey week, so Trent isn't watching hockey right now. Although, we got a little hockey up. Frozen 4. Okay, Frozen 4. So Trent would be in support of the NHL.